Do this from day one of the holiday, or you waited till the end?
I'd been planning it for a while, but as every guy out there will know, it takes a certain amount of motivation to get yourself going. So,
Breaking news. The British royal family has just made a massive announcement that is sending shockwaves around the world in a stunning and unprecedented development. The palace has issued a statement outlining a major change in the monarchy, and the question on everyone's lips is, what has been revealed, and how will it impact the royal family and the public alike? The message that captured the hearts of a nation was simple, subtle, and yet it carried an impact so profound that it changed everything. There were no golden carriages gliding through crowded streets, no glittering crowns, no long ceremonial speeches, no cheering crowds lined the palace gates. What happened wasn't loud or ostentatious. It was gentle, calm, and it left a lasting impression on the hearts of those watching. It all started with a tiny, unassuming message. Just a few plain words appeared on the royal family's official website. No names were mentioned. No emotions were revealed. No clues were given. It simply stated that a short announcement would be made at 6 p.m. That was it. Nothing more. Yet that small, ordinary message acted like a spark in a dry forest. Within minutes, the news spread like wildfire. People stopped whatever they were doing. Phones buzzed non-stop. Social media exploded with questions. What was about to happen? Was the king ill? Was someone stepping down? Was the crown itself in jeopardy? The world collectively held its breath. Reporters rushed to the palace. News stations scrambled to set up cameras. Experts on royal history offered their guesses. Some predicted it would be an announcement reshaping the monarchy's future. Others whispered that it might signal hidden trouble behind palace walls. No one truly knew, and the palace remained completely silent. That silence only amplified the intrigue, making the moment feel electric. As the clock edged closer to 6 p.m., hearts raced. People gathered around televisions, phones, and computers, waiting for something, anything. Would it be a simple update, or a message with the power to change history forever? Then, right on time, the screen lit up. But instead of a grand hall or majestic balcony, a cozy, warm room appeared. The walls were soft in colour, the furniture plain but inviting. It was a room inside Kensington Palace, and there they were, William and Kate. No crowns, no medals, no ceremonial symbols, just two calm faces, quietly waiting to speak. And the presence in that room spoke louder than any trumpet blast. William looked steadily into the camera. His voice was gentle, but every word carried meaning. He spoke about what it truly means to be royal. Not titles, not old customs, but duty, kindness, and helping others. He acknowledged the hardships people were facing and asked the royal family a hard question. Were they genuinely serving the people, or were they clinging to outdated traditions?
And it's these connections, these relationships, that are founded in the earliest years of our lives.
Then Kate spoke. Her voice was soft yet firm, filled with a quiet confidence that the world had not fully seen before. She emphasized that it wasn't about strict roles or adhering to old rules anymore. Times had changed, and so must the monarchy. It was no longer about standing apart, it was about standing beside the people. Trust, not blind loyalty. Service, not appearance. There were no resignations, no dramatic farewells, no grand spectacle. But there was a promise to lead with open hearts, to replace stiff formality with empathy, and to prioritize action over image. They promised to be there for people, not as distant figures on high balconies, but as humans who cared, who understood, and who would walk alongside them. And in that moment, something shifted. Across the country, moods changed. William and Kate suddenly felt familiar. They felt kind. They felt like people you could sit with and talk to. The invisible wall separating the royals from ordinary people began to crumble. This wasn't the end of the crown. It was the beginning of something new, softer, warmer, and more honest. That tiny message, which at first seemed plain and forgettable, became the spark for a quiet but profound revolution. It proved that real change doesn't always arrive with drums or fireworks. Sometimes it comes quietly, in a calm room, with simple words spoken sincerely from the heart. So what exactly was this announcement that sparked whispers around the world and within the palace walls? How profound was it? Stay with us. A new royal promise. The British royal family experienced a quiet but powerful shift. It didn't come with parades, flashing lights, or sensational headlines. It arrived softly, almost unnoticed at first, yet left a deep and lasting impression on hearts everywhere. There were no golden carriages, no sparkling crowns. This time, what people saw was far sweeter. A message of kindness, hope, and gentle courage. At the heart of this moment was the Diana Initiative, named after Princess Diana, remembered forever for her kind heart and care for others. Catherine, Princess of Wales, carried this mission forward with grace, but this wasn't just another royal charity. It was a promise to build a future filled with comfort, compassion, and real, lasting change. The announcement was simple, yet it resonated deeply with people everywhere. King Charles remained head of the monarchy, and Queen Camilla's role stayed the same. Yet, when the screen went dark, it was clear, something inside the royal family had shifted. People asked themselves, what had changed? What did this calm, gentle moment mean for the monarchy? Families talked, newspapers wrote, even royal insiders whispered about this quiet but vital step forward. For generations, the royal family had followed the same traditions. Formal words, fancy dinners, and strict lines separating royals from everyday people. But Prince William and Princess Kate quietly chose a different path. They didn't just issue a message. They opened the door to a new dream, a monarchy built on kindness, honesty, and true service. The press hailed it as the modern monarchy roadmap, a thoughtful, caring plan to gently close the gap between the royals and the public. It was about leading with heart and courage, not just holding titles and following old rules. Prince William spoke softly but powerfully, saying it was time to let go of customs that no longer made sense. The royal family, he said, must be brave enough to listen, to care, and to lead with kindness. He promised that he and Kate would stand with causes that mattered, protecting the planet, supporting mental health, and giving every child a fair chance, not because of titles, but because it was right. For years, William and Kate quietly championed mental health, visiting charities, meeting families, and speaking on the importance of care. But now, their work felt even more vital. The world was going through hard times, and people were searching for comfort. William and Kate came not with speeches, but with open hearts, ready to act. The most touching moment came when Kate spoke about the Diana Initiative. Her voice was warm, steady, and unwavering. She reminded the world that Diana's kindness didn't fade when she passed. It lived on in every person who showed care and spoke up for the forgotten. Kate promised to lead this new mission, to listen to those in pain and to work tirelessly for real change. It wasn't about looking back with sadness, it was about moving forward with hope, exactly the way Diana would have wanted. The Diana Initiative was designed to bring people together, lift voices often ignored, and offer hope to those living in silence. It was a promise to keep Diana's spirit alive, not as a memory locked in the past, but as a shining light guiding the future. As soon as the announcement was made, the public reacted immediately, their responses a mix of awe, excitement, and wonder. Social media buzzed like never before, while palace corridors seemed to hum with tension. How did everyone respond? Stick with us to see a royal step beyond tradition. For centuries, the royal family maintained strict privacy, with every action carefully choreographed. Every word, every public appearance, even intimate family moments were orchestrated to protect the monarchy's reputation. Generations of royals followed these traditions, keeping a rigid barrier between personal life and the public eye. Yet Prince William nurtured a quiet but powerful desire for change. He understood that genuine trust only emerges through transparency. He didn't just speak about it, he acted. Teaming with Princess Kate, they committed to a level of openness the royal family had never known before. One of their first steps was publishing annual reports detailing exactly how royal finances were allocated. The public would finally know which projects were funded, what impact their support made, and what progress had been achieved. No secret ledgers for palace eyes only. Everything would be open for all to see. The Diana Initiative took transparency further by inviting impartial organisations to evaluate their efforts. Outside specialists would ensure the mission, centred on kindness, healing, and social progress, was genuinely effective and trustworthy. This policy applied to all initiatives involving the royal couple. The message was unmistakable: no hidden agendas, no undisclosed strategies, no favouritism. Ethical behaviour would come before popularity. The response was immediate and overwhelmingly positive. Social media flooded with praise. People called the decision innovative, bold, and long overdue. Many felt that the royal family was stepping into a modern, empathetic era, led by a younger generation committed to real impact rather than ceremonial tradition. While the public celebrated, a different atmosphere lingered within Buckingham Palace. Silence reigned. King Charles and Queen Camilla made no statements. No joyful posts appeared on the royal website. The quiet was deafening. William and Kate seemed to have acted boldly, without waiting for approval. In a world where every action is meticulously monitored, this quiet defiance stood out like a flare in the night. Inside the historic palace, the mood shifted. Rather than joy or reassurance, unease hung in the air. Gossip rippled through palace staff, and traditionalists exchanged cautious glances. Whispers travelled along the corridors, tracing the tension between centuries-old protocol and the emerging new approach. A gentle but transformative change was quietly unfolding. It wasn't loud and it wasn't showy, but everyone close to the palace felt it. Stiff rules and careful routines were gradually giving way to a softer, kinder approach. At the heart of this transformation were William and Kate, not just performing royal duties, but quietly redefining what royalty could mean today. They guided the monarchy along a new path with small, meaningful acts. Grand speeches and extravagant events weren't important. What mattered were brave, compassionate gestures showing that they truly cared about people. Their message was clear. Being royal wasn't about staying distant anymore. It was about showing love, offering help, and being present in the lives of ordinary people. By opening up, sharing details of charity work, and clarifying the use of royal funds, they sent a simple but powerful message. People could finally see the impact of their support, follow progress, and witness real, tangible results. What began as a quiet promise quickly made waves within the palace walls. The surprise wasn't the message itself, but how boldly it was delivered. Rumours spread that King Charles watched the announcement from Clarence House, his face a mixture of quiet concern and surprise. Known for his cautious approach, he saw William and Kate speak from the heart without seeking prior approval. The moment felt personal, raw, and unscripted. For Queen Camilla, it carried weight too. Kate's heartfelt launch of the Diana Initiative stirred old emotions in a few simple words. The initiative reignited global admiration for Diana, not to overshadow anyone, but to remind the world of her warmth. Camilla quietly struggled with the moment, sensing that some of the public's hearts were drawn back to Diana's memory. Inside the palace, advisors rushed to find the right words. Yet public support for William and Kate was overwhelming, and any statement might have seemed cold or distant. In the end, the palace remained silent, and that silence spoke louder than any royal declaration. It revealed a subtle struggle within the monarchy, a tug-of-war between tradition and the promise of a hopeful new path. The meaning was clear. It wasn't about crowns, titles, or protocols. It was about speaking in ways that genuinely touched hearts. Private conversations began to shift. Kate, once seen as quiet and polite, emerged as a leader in her own right. Some whispered that her growing confidence broke too many old rules, while others celebrated it as exactly what the monarchy needed to remain relevant in a rapidly changing world. Through it all, William and Kate weren't chasing power or titles. They stayed focused on kindness, honesty, and making a meaningful difference. Values the monarchy had sometimes sidelined. Bit by bit, the crown stopped being the only symbol of leadership. In its place stood Kate, gentle, strong, and quietly winning hearts without even trying. Soon, people began calling her the Queen of the Public, not an official title, but one that resonated with the world. It reminded everyone of Diana's warmth and marked a new chapter for the royal family. Kate no longer just stood beside William. She walked with him, often leading the way. Not long after, Buckingham Palace announced new military roles for 9 royal family members, including Kate. One of these roles had once belonged to Diana, now imbued with fresh meaning. It showed that Kate's influence wasn't only felt by the public, it was growing inside the palace too. Through visits, warm words, and thoughtful speeches, Kate demonstrated that leadership wasn't about waiting for a crown. It was about stepping forward when it mattered most. This announcement revolved around one name, Catherine. But how did she capture the hearts of the people? Through good causes, thoughtful action, and heartfelt presence. Stay tuned. The heart of the people matters most. In a world where ancient traditions cling tightly to the past, one person's kindness can quietly change everything. Behind the grand royal walls, where rules and careful images have endured for centuries, something gentle and powerful has been unfolding. At the heart of it is Catherine, Princess of Wales. Through her warm gestures, thoughtful choices, and quiet determination, she has moved beyond her royal title to become a beloved figure of the people. This change didn't begin with grand speeches or fancy parades. There were no flags waving or cameras flashing, no ceremonial fanfare, no dramatic announcements, just steady, heartfelt action that slowly captured the public's attention. It started in quiet places with people who felt forgotten. At a mental health centre in Manchester, Catherine sat with teenage girls facing personal struggles. No press, no fuss, just Catherine offering kindness like a caring friend. One girl later said it felt like being truly seen by someone who cared, not just a royal figurehead. That simple, gentle moment meant more than any official event or carefully staged photo opportunity. Her quiet visits continued in Birmingham. She visited a women's shelter, comforting a woman who had suffered years of abuse. There were no staged photos or prepared words, just an honest, caring moment. Her message was clear: you matter, you're not alone. Those small, intimate acts resonated far beyond the rooms she visited, spreading a quiet warmth throughout communities. At the same time, the Diana Initiative, started in honour of Princess Diana, began making a real difference. A new centre opened, offering free grief counselling to young people reflecting the pain William and Harry once carried. Catherine also announced a plan for a global conference on women's well-being, a subject rarely touched by royal leaders. These were not empty promises. They were meaningful steps toward lasting change, demonstrating how leadership can be gentle, yet profoundly transformative. One unforgettable moment came at a town hall in Cardiff, where Catherine spoke softly from the heart about what true leadership means. "It's not about titles or power," she said. "It's about standing with people, listening and caring." The room fell silent, not out of formality, but because her words touched everyone deeply. Catherine led new conversations about mental health, addiction, and family support. She drew national attention to children's mental health, earning praise as a true advocate alongside William and Harry. She helped launch Heads Together, encouraging open conversations about mental health, and also created the Mentally Healthy Schools program, giving resources to students and teachers. Over 250,000 people visited the website in its first 2 years, inspired by Catherine sharing her own worries, fears, doubts, and anxiety as a mother. She reminded parents everywhere that even royals feel the same emotions, making the royal family feel closer, warmer, and more real. People noticed Catherine's popularity quietly growing. Soon whispers comparing her to Princess Diana began, but inside the palace, unease followed the traditional royal household. Famous for its strict ways, the household felt the growing tension. Catherine wasn't just following royal duties, she was transforming them. The monarchy, once built on rigid customs, was being reshaped by kindness, honesty, and heartfelt service. She didn't seek attention or power. Catherine bridged old and new with her gentle presence, naturally becoming the heart of a changing monarchy. Her rise wasn't marked by royal banquets or parades, but by everyday kindness, comforting mothers, listening to children, speaking openly, and leaving small but lasting impressions. Each gesture left a mark that quietly shifted perceptions. Royal leadership began to change. People looked beyond the king and queen, turning their eyes toward Catherine. In time, she received new charity and military roles, some once held by Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana. Under her care, these roles found new meaning, a new royal heartbeat within the ancient walls of the British monarchy, where tradition ruled for centuries and every step was carefully measured. A quiet but powerful change began. It didn't come from where people expected, nor in the way history books might have predicted. It took shape in the gentle hands of Catherine, Princess of Wales, and the steady leadership of Prince William. To many watching from the outside, Catherine had already stepped into a queen-like role without ever needing the title. Her warmth, kindness, and natural way of connecting with people made her beloved in Britain and beyond. Inside the palace, though, this quiet rise unsettled those who had spent years guarding the old ways. They watched as public love and attention shifted toward a younger, more relatable couple. For King Charles III, the timing was difficult. After waiting his whole life to wear the crown, his reign was quickly shaped by something he hadn't planned for. Instead of leading in calm, dignified authority, he stood in the quiet shadow of William and Kate. Their honesty and simple gestures touched people's hearts in ways the ceremony never could. While Charles and Queen Camilla clung to old traditions, William and Kate led with warmth and care. Their public appearances weren't stiff or overly polished. They were natural, filled with real conversations and heartfelt moments. It quietly suggested that the monarchy's future might rely more on empathy than old customs. For Queen Camilla, the emotional weight was heavier. She had worked for years to rebuild her image in a space forever marked by Princess Diana's memory. Kate's choice to honor Diana's legacy, not just with soft tributes, but with bold public missions like the Diana Initiative, brought those comparisons back. It wasn't just a memory of the past. It felt like reclaiming a place Camilla had hoped to fill, but never fully could. This shift revealed something deeper. The public no longer longed for flawless ceremony. They wanted sincerity. People were drawn to leaders who felt human, who showed care, and who shared life's joys and struggles. Though palace messages kept a calm front, those behind the scenes felt the change. Advisors quietly warned Charles not to push back against the growing love for William and Kate. Trying to stop it could upset a public already embracing a different kind of monarchy, one built on kindness and truth. Many began to whisper that Catherine might not wear the crown yet, but she had become the true queen in people's hearts. Charles himself quietly felt it. His coronation, meant to be the shining moment of his life, was gently overshadowed by a new royal story, one not about gold thrones or grand titles, but about real connections to the people. While Charles and Camilla followed strict protocol, William and Kate offered simple, tender acts, hugging grieving families, speaking of personal fears, and standing by those often ignored. William's leadership wasn't loud. It was steady, thoughtful, and kind. He believed the royal family could no longer hide behind old ways. Either the crown would grow with the people, or it would slowly fade away. This wasn't rebellion. It was a natural move towards something softer and more honest. Privately, William spoke of the hard lessons from his mother's life. He'd seen how royal duty hid grief, how public image mattered more than personal truth. He watched Catherine face those same pressures, always perfect, rarely allowed to be fully human. He chose to change that. How has William tried to change and transform the monarchy? Let's dive into it. William's steady path in the new royal family. A quiet but meaningful change has been unfolding within the British royal family, led by the calm and steady Prince William. Without making grand statements, he is carefully guiding this shift through thoughtful choices. His fresh outlook is bringing a new warmth to a monarchy long caught up in old customs that often valued appearance over honesty. One of William's clearest decisions came when dealing with his mother's legacy. After Princess Diana's passing, many suggested that the Diana Initiative be merged into the palace's regular charity system, but William firmly said no. He wanted his mother's memory to remain free from royal control and public image concerns. Preserving Diana's true spirit mattered more than following palace traditions. It was a quiet but powerful stand for truth over formality. But the transformation wasn't just happening in public. In private, William worked on something deeper. He started reconnecting with younger family members who had long felt overlooked by old-fashioned royal customs. These relatives had experienced disappointment in a system that favoured silence over sincerity. A meaningful moment came when William visited Princess Beatrice at Frogmore Cottage. It wasn't just a social visit, it was a chance for healing. Beatrice, having faced her own struggles and public challenges, had shown courage and inner strength. William saw those qualities as exactly what the royal family needed. Now he let her know she didn't have to follow outdated rules or stay quiet to be valued in the new royal family. William also reached out to Princess Eugenie, whose connection to the family had slowly faded. He knew her honest, hopeful voice was important for the future. Zara Tyndall, known for her down-to-earth attitude, also became part of this quiet but growing circle. Together, these cousins and relatives built a discreet network around William, one focused on truth, respect, and the shared hope of a better, kinder monarchy. Among those William deeply admired was Duchess Sophie, Countess of Wessex. For years, Sophie had served the crown with grace, often avoiding the spotlight. She was calm, capable, and genuinely connected with people. William didn't just see her as another royal, he saw her as a partner in creating a more open, understanding royal household. Her ability to balance duty with kindness earned his lasting respect. This widening circle of trusted family members reflected something bigger happening inside the palace. William understood that to survive, the monarchy had to be more than titles, formalities, and careful appearances. It needed honesty, trust, and the courage to face old wounds by surrounding himself with open-hearted, sincere relatives. William was quietly building the foundation for a royal family rooted in real human connection. This wasn't an effort to erase the past, but to honor it while moving forward. William's steady, thoughtful leadership showed that the future of the crown wouldn't be shaped by ancient rules alone, but by empathy, trust, and the loyal support of those ready to embrace a better way. The rise of a new monarchy, the British royal family, is quietly changing, not through bold speeches, but through Prince William's calm and steady leadership. He's gently balancing tradition with modern values, slowly shaping a monarchy that feels warmer and closer to the people. For centuries, the royal family kept their emotions hidden, showing only perfect smiles while guarding their private struggles. But under William's quiet guidance, things have begun to shift. He believes that true strength comes from honesty, compassion, and showing vulnerability. Being royal isn't just about history. It's about empathy, kindness, and real human connection. William didn't aim to erase old customs. Instead, he gave them new meaning. Without loud words, he let his actions speak. He moved the royal family towards sincerity, choosing thoughtful acts over strict formality. His changes weren't about power or titles, but about substance and heart. It wasn't a sudden takeover. Slowly, public events and charitable work started coming from Kensington Palace, not Buckingham. The media's focus, once fixed on King Charles and Queen Camilla, turned more often to William and Kate. And what made it special was how natural it all felt. People saw warmth and honesty in William and Kate, and it made the royal family feel real again. William carried himself with calm confidence. He had his parents' grace and a sincere curiosity for people's stories. Many believed he would lead the monarchy into a brighter, kinder future. Alongside him, Kate became just as important in this gentle transformation. She wasn't just fulfilling royal duties, she was changing what it meant to be royal, using quiet strength and genuine care to lift others up. Even the younger royals began leaving their mark. Princess Charlotte, though still young, displayed remarkable poise in public. She seemed kind, thoughtful, and unafraid. She connected easily with people of all ages. Charlotte wasn't simply a little princess. She was already showing signs of future leadership. Then came Prince Louis, the lively, joyful heart of the family. His bright spirit and playful nature brought a sense of fun to royal life. Louis reminded everyone that even in grand palaces, there was room for innocence, laughter, and childhood. Yet William's path wasn't without difficulty. The pressures of being next in line for the throne were heavy, and his once close bond with Prince Harry had become strained. Over the years, they hadn't talked enough about their mother's death, the trauma, or the pressures of public life. This unfolding, painfully in the public eye, showed that, like any family, the royals faced heartache, tension, and the hope of healing. What do you think about this announcement? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more celebrity gist. And don't forget to watch the other videos on your screen for even more royal updates.